Hey guys and girls, it's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. We have an Ibanez, an early Ibanez P BASS on the bench. Let's get to work. We're going to try to get a lot done in this video. Customer brought it in for, it says it doesn't make any sound. One of the pots is completely broken off and there's no knob on the other one. He supplied me with 2 CTS pots from StuMac, an output jack, orange drop, and a couple of knobs. So we're going to de-string it. We're going to try to save these strings. He said they weren't that old. In addition to that, I checked neck relief and wah-wah. So yeah, it's so straight that it is in a back bow. I actually looked it over and we've got a back bow. So once we have this off, I'm gonna try to back that, get that some relief into this neck. Oddly enough, it's not buzzing anywhere. That's the weird thing. And it might be why there's flat ones on it. Flat ones will tend to buzz less, but it's too straight. Dirty, we're going to clean it up, but mostly we're doing the rewire on it. But while it's here, I'm going to clean up his frets, clean the guitar, do like we usually do, as much as possible, and do a setup, because damn, it needs it. All right? So we're going to try to save the strings. It's got plenty of string on here, so it shouldn't be a problem. It's always fun to reuse strings like this one already. You know, they're already grabbing each other. You know how that goes. Get this out of the way so we can get started. I don't know how it's not buzzing. It is in a back bow, a visible back bow, and it measures. There's no relief in the neck at all. So we're gonna address that when we get to it. Looks like somebody has put new saddles on it at some point, and yeah, they're jacked all the way up. That's probably to compensate for the back bow and the neck. You'd be almost certain of that. So, Ibanez looks just like a P BASS. In fact, when he opened up the case, I thought it was an old vintage P BASS, because everything down here looks just like it would if it was a Fender, but nope, it's an Ibanez. Probably a Japanese, I'm guessing a Japanese, either 80s or 70s, late 70s, early 80s maybe. Who knows? So we're not getting any sound. The only thing I told him was, I don't know. If it's not making any sound, I don't know if your pickups are any good. But it's rare that they're no good. Just when you say that. Just when you say that. Everything's tight on it. I hope I don't have to knock the neck off. I think I'll be able to get at the truss rod adjustment once we get that out. Everything's really tight on the guitar. Nope, I spoke too soon. This is just normal stuff I always check when I'm working on an instrument. I have OCD and I can't let that stuff just be loose. I'll check the tuners in a few minutes. I'm going to pause while I get all of these screws out. It takes a hot minute. So once you get all the screws out, and by the way, they're all rusty and gnarly, I think I might just put a new set of screws for them. He didn't think to get any, and I'm pretty sure I got a hold enough to donate to him. Don't need the electronics in the pick guard anymore. So let's get all this stuff off. He was smart to just go with new stuff because this stuff is old and corroded and clearly original. So I'm okay with that, and it's actually a smart play. I applaud him for that. This is going to be a rewire complete. But on a P base, it's not that bad. There's not a whole lot going on. You got a volume, a tone, and an output jack. But we got quite a bit of other stuff we have to pay attention to as well. Yeah. That pot snapped right off. Never seen that before. I've never seen one snap right off like that. Interesting. What I want to do is before we get too far along, I'm going to put some relief in this neck. We got a 4mm looks like down in there, and we are unable to get at it. Apparently Ibanez didn't get the memo to cut out a big enough channel to put a wrench on it. And I could tell by looking in there that over the years in this guitar's life, they've put a ball end and all kinds of other things in there to try to adjust that. And all they did was booger up the outside of it. I'm hoping I can get the neck off and get a tool on it the way it's supposed to. Nice and clean. And we're gonna back relief it. We're gonna loosen the truss rod, hopefully, and get it in a flat condition, and then string tension should get us where we need to be. Because it's really in a back bow right now. It looks like a bow and arrow. It looks like a bow and arrow. Sorry about my head. It's a honking guitar. I like it. I like it. So yeah, pretty much it's real basic stuff. You guys have seen this before. It's a 5mm. Well, I'm assuming that it's metric. It's Ibanez. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're going to put a whole turn on it. Nope, no two-way. So it was before two-way truss rods. I did get quite a bit of turn on it. Let's see, did I get... I think we're going to be okay. It's almost straight. Before it was really like a bow and arrow. I think we're going to be okay. It definitely is going to be better, but is it going to be perfect? No, this is a one way only. One way. Well, that's as good as we're going to be able to make it. We'll be okay though. I'm almost certain we're really close. Once we get the string tension, it should pull it down into an acceptable relief. Yeah. The things we go through when we're working on guitars. Let's get this puppy back on there. It's the only bitch I ever had with Leo Fender, putting a truss rod adjustment down there, and Ibanez followed suit in the 70s. I think this is from the 70s. There was no other dates on the heel. There is a serial number here. Maybe we can do some research when we pause, just for curiosity's sake. But you see what you have to go through to just adjust the truss rod, the neck relief? And this neck has probably never had its neck relief adjusted properly, which would explain why it was in such a horrendous back bow. It's been neglected because most techs are too lazy to open that up, and you saw elapsed time, give or take about 5 minutes once the strings are off. You have to commit. If you're going to do it right. Now we can go back to, first I'm going to go to cleanup. And I'm going to do that off camera. I'm going to scrub the board. I'm going to clean up the frets because I want to do all that before we get into the meat of it. So stand by. When you come back, at least it'll be cleaner than it is right now. So we did quite a little bit of cleanup. I polished the frets quickly, got most of the gook off of them, and cleaned and oiled the board. I scrubbed the board down. I mean, clearly you can see the difference. Also washed the body, wiped it down, wiped down everything that, get the outer layer of gook off of it. Before I do anything else, I just want to check what the output is on these pickups. Kind of curious. They are reading 10.6. Yeah, okay. So I think we're going to be okay with the pickups. It was the only invariable, or the only variable, because I was not able to plug it in and get any sound out of it. So pretty basically, we always want to check that stuff. So off she comes. I'm going to clean and tin all new ends pretty much and start from scratch. That's our ground that goes under the bridge. Let's check continuity with that just to make sure. If it hasn't been apart in a long time, I'm sure it's fine. Yahtzee, good. I hate to get it all back together and then have to de-string it and just pull that off just to put a ground wire on it. It has happened. That's why we check it. That's why we check it. So let's get this is our old stuff, and it's got some markings, 250K. I don't know what he's putting in it. Let's open them up and see. Got an orange drop cap there we're using. These are 250K, yeah. I agree with that. I agree with that. So first things first, we're going to prep our output jack and our two pots. And to do that, all we do is solder up all the lugs. I'm going to do that off of camera. We load up all the lugs with a little solder. We get our ground solder done on the backs. Same thing with the output jack, just load up the lugs with solder. It makes for assembly quicker and easier. Quicker and easier, I like. Let me get the solder iron going. I will be back in a few minutes. So everything is mounted, as you can see, and you have to take time to get those mounted correctly so you don't have too much post sticking through the pick guard. The holes were too small. I had to bore those out to accept the newer, more modern CTS pots. Everything is wired up nice and clean, nice and tight, because you don't have a whole lot of space down in here. Output, tone, volume, and You should be able to tuck everything right in there. It's always the pickups that give you the most amount of trouble. Get everything tucked. It's lined up. There's nothing in the way. Time to tap test it and see if it makes sound. It's always a moment of truth. Volume, tone, all the way up. Tone. Basic, straightforward, classic design. It's working like a charm. I had no doubt. So I am going to, let's get some better screws for this. We've gone this far. 3, 4. Oh, I gotta use, this is the weirdest thing. You got 2 screws right in the middle of the pick guard, right into the body. Oh, wrong one. I'm going to reuse those probably. Let's see what we got here. Oh, I got a whole bunch of black ones. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So stand by while I put a million screws in this thing. So at this juncture, we're all cleaned up. We tap tested it. We're going to screw down the pick guard, put the strings back on, and continue forward with our setup. I'm going to hope and pray that we have enough relief. Well, we don't have much choice because that's the relief we're going to get. So I'll be back in just a second. So where are we? Where are we? Where are we? It's got flat wounds on it. I reused them. I cut them to the proper length. They were all, some of them were way too long, some of them were way too short. Let's get it tuned up. Let's get it off of my pistol. Oh, wow, really close. Never liked flat wounds. Come on, baby. So I'm guessing this guitar is a direct knockoff or answer, Ibanez's answer to the Fender Precision, but I'm okay with that. Everything seems to be tuning up nicely. The strings were already on there, so they should be pretty well pre-stretched. I want to check this neck relief right away. Right away. Oh, sometimes it's just proof that God has a sense of humor. I guessed at it when I had it off and got the only amount of relief that it would give me, and it's perfect. It's perfect. It is absolutely perfect. It's got just the right amount of relief. Now, these saddles are so high because whoever was trying to set this bass up, because the neck was in a back bow, the only thing they could do to keep the strings from buzzing all over the fretboard was to jack up the saddles all the way. Well, guess what? We don't need to do that now. And they're almost all of them. Look at how tall they are. They look like giraffes. Look right there. Long-legged giraffes all the way. like it almost seems like some of the set screws are ready to pop out. Yeah. So I'm going to lower them down, get the string height set, and do a quick setup on this guitar, but it's ready to go. It's ready to go. Can't wait to play it. I don't know if it'll sound as good as my basses, but from what I started with and what we had to work with, I am going to drop these all the way down. I didn't even measure the string height. I probably should, just to see how bad it is. I can tell you, you could drive a truck under it right now, just by eyeballing it. I already lowered that one, and it's at 12, 14, 10. You know, we're 8 and almost 9. So, you know, we're going to lower all these down. Give me a moment. So where are we? We know we set our neck relief. Right now, I'm going to fine tune the string height, and then we're going to check our pickups. Let's get the string height set. I want to know where we're at. Just so we can move forward with the intonation. This is all set up. I mean, aside from, you know, the work that we did. So I lowered all of the saddles. I mean, they were literally, I had to lower them almost 1/4 of an inch. That's unheard of. Unheard of. That's a little low. I'm going to just bring it up slightly. I just want to get it right at 6/64. A little bit over. That one's at 6. That one's a little low. Little low. It's fine tuning. I know you can't. I'm not in a movie, but all we're doing is fine tuning our saddle height. They were so out of whack. And I lowered them all so much, just to where I thought by eyeball what they should be. Let's retune. Yeah, a lot of creaking going on. If I was this customer, I would recommend changing out the bridge. It's just old and rusty and crusty and nasty. It looks like at some point somebody put new saddles, because they're shiny and bright, but the saddle just looks horrible. And new tuners. These tuners are just, it's holding tune. Yeah. Let's see where our intonation is. A little sharp. I'm going to set it. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right for this guy. It's a little sharp, which means distance is too short between the saddle and the nut. Yeah, these tuners are gacked. I either would take them all apart and try to rebuild them, or for the labor that it would cost the customer, I would just get a new set. I like that. Sharp. And I can see all of the saddle screws are just all, I mean, there's so much distance there. Yeah, fine tuning. But if I'm going to give this guitar back to him after fixing what he just brought it in for just that, but I want to clean it up and make it play right. It's just me. Brought it in for a rewire. Well, it needed a little bit more love. Intonation. Needs more. Yeah. I promise we're going to play it in a minute. Oh, by the way, I checked everything here. It's not buzzing anywhere. There we go. I can live with that. Jeez, they're all sharp. Yeah, that figures. It doesn't surprise me a bit. This is not the best bridge and saddle assembly on here. I wish we could just put a Fender bridge on there right now. Because this guitar would stand tall with that. It would stand tall. Put a nice Fender bridge on there. P bass bridge. Dead on. Actually, the G wasn't bad. Let's plug it in and play it. I am satisfied with that. Just one look, make sure all our saddles are nice and level. That one's a little tall, but I'm going to leave it because I got all the intonation set. I mean, a little. My OCD is telling me it's a little tall. Let's see if it plays. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. How about if we take that off? This thing's standing tall. When I got it, it was in such a rough state, and the only thing he asked me about was fixing this stuff, and he even got all the parts, as I showed you. To his credit, he went with Stumac stuff. You pay up for the Stumac stuff, Stuart McDonald, but I promise you this. They will send the right stuff the first time, every time. They know what they're doing. That I can't take away from them. But you do pay up for that service. Look, I use Stumac stuff. I mean, it's the best. It's the best. You pay up for it. Be a smart consumer. Came in with all busted out electronics. Nothing was working. We wired it up. The last thing I want to check is our pickup height, and I'm afraid to try to grind on these screws because this one's all the way up and it's not holding anything. Luckily, it's right where it needs to be. So is that one. That one's too far away. That one's too far away. And yeah, I don't think they're coming up, and I'm not going to mess with that. That is a whole process all by itself. Got to pull all that off, figure out if you're going to use springs or cushion or what have you, but it's playing, and I'm sure the client is going to be happy. It's Blackjack with 396 guitars. I don't get enough basses in to work on. I'm a bass player, and I'm always working on other people's guitars. We'll talk soon. Remember, if you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe. And please share.